Hi there, my name's Kenny Johnson. I'm a product manager here at Brightpearl. Today I'm going to take you through just a quick introduction to Brightpearl. That'll involve basically an introduction about the company itself. I'll talk about some of the common problems that we help solve as a platform at Brightpearl, and then I'll take you guys through a quick demo. Alright, so Brightpearl, or the best way to sum up Brightpearl, is we're a retail and wholesale ERP built for omni-channel retailers. That involves managing your sales and purchase orders, tied into full inventory management and accounting, customer and vendor management, as well as full warehouse management. Brightpearl has about 1,200 retail and wholesale customers. We've got offices in Austin, San Francisco, and Bristol, UK, and we've been in business about 10 years. So taking a look at some of the key areas that we help businesses. So we help in areas like purchasing and inventory, fulfillment and returns, accounting and reporting, and customer management and marketing. So touching on a few of the common issues that we typically see retailers and wholesalers coming in with. So on the purchasing and inventory side, they don't necessarily have real-time insight into their inventory levels. They're spending too much time managing their inventory between channels, having to synchronize things. They're either carrying too much or too little inventory, or they're either double selling or overselling of items. On the fulfillment and return side, some of the most common things that we see are it's a very manual process. They're seeing a lot of mispicks. Return rates are really high and they're really costly just in the time people are having to spend. And then they don't have full visibility into shipping and other expenses in terms of fulfilling items out to customers. Some of the other issues that we see on the accounting and reporting side, so it's really common for retailers to have a disparate inventory system and accounting system. So it's typically they'll be using something like spreadsheets or an inventory management tool and then plugging in QuickBooks or entering inventory into QuickBooks manually. We look to save that time by automatically processing accounting directly in Brightpearl. We see a lot of time-intensive or manual or error-prone journal entries. This also affects your ability to have real-time reporting and metrics, and then you don't have full insight into your gross or net profit for items. As well as on the customer management and marketing side, probably the most common problem that we see is people lack a 360-degree view of their customer. If somebody buys in store and buys online, it's typically difficult to reconcile that data if you don't have a consistent system to use. It's also very difficult to put together targeted marketing campaigns as opposed to just blanket email newsletter content, things like that. So some of the common problems or some of the common requirements that we typically see people coming to us to solve. So multi-location inventory, this is a big one. A lot of the e-commerce channels in the marketplaces like a Shopify, Magento, or Amazon don't really have a great concept of multi-location inventory. Brightpearl helps address that by allowing you to plug in all your different warehouse locations and then feed a consistent number up to the different e-commerce channels. Fulfillment flexibility. So if you ever move to needing to manage a dropship process, back order management, something like just-in-time purchasing, again, the e-commerce channels or like a ShipStation or something like that isn't necessarily going to fit every single need around your fulfillment requirements. Fully landed costs is a big one. Brightpearl has a dedicated landed cost module that allows you to roll things like duty, freight, insurance, just additional expenses into the cost of goods sold of an item to let you see a more accurate picture of profitability. Improved connector performance. We've put a lot of investment into our connectors to allow them to perform at scale. We never see dropped orders during things like Black Friday or Cyber Monday, and we have retailers who see really bursty volume like flash sales, and we've built our connectors for them to handle tens of thousands of orders in an hour. The need for centralized multi-channel data. So if you've expanded into multiple e-commerce channels, if you've got a marketplace and an e-commerce and a store channel, it can be very difficult to consolidate all that data without a single platform. Advanced inventory management. So this is things like being able to track changing cost of goods sold for items. So if you have frequently changing costs from vendors, you need to check and understand the different values of each batch. Things like kitting and bundling. So being able to put together bundles and then synchronize that bundle inventory up to your connected channels. And then finally, a big one is automation. So generally a lot of the rules that we see within, or a lot of the processes that we see within retailers and wholesalers can typically be automated. Our mantra at Brightpearl is automate 90 or 95% of your orders and then deal with the exceptions. So that's a really common requirement, is things are going okay for a retailer, but they have too many people doing too many manual processes, and they want to wrap some business rules around their business. All right, so let's go ahead and actually take a look at Brightpearl. So what I'll do here is I'll start from the sales order management side, what that looks like, how that can be automated, and then we can look at how that affects inventory, how we then would top back up on inventory using the purchasing module, and then we'll finish off with accounting and reporting. So Brightpearl, it's a multi-channel sales order management module, so I'm able to plug in all of my different sales channels. Those sales orders are then going to automatically flow into my sales order view. I can create different preset views, so I can say I just want to see orders that need to be billed, or orders that are ready to be fulfilled, things like that. Once these orders come in from my different channels, I can set up different rules in Brightpearl to automatically process these orders. So I can decide when I want inventory to be allocated to the sale, when I want the order to basically be shipped or be fulfilled, and then also integrating into platforms like a ShipStation or a ShipWorks or your 3PL to track the actual shipping of a product. This can all be either automated, or I can process this in batch, so grabbing multiple orders and then either fulfilling, creating drop shipping, invoicing, just providing a consolidated area to manage all of your orders. Once an order has been specified to be shipped, we then are able to push out to our warehouse management view, where I'm able to manage a full pick and pack process. It's also worth noting that we have an advanced warehouse management module that I'm not going to show today, but it just gives you an additional level of complexity or additional level of flexibility around how you manage your warehouse. It lets you put in things like wave picking, the ability to scan barcodes both on pick and on pack, being able to do full cycle counting and receiving from a barcode-driven perspective. That's a newer product that we've released in the last year, and we're pretty excited about. Definitely worth getting in touch if you guys are curious about warehouse management. So once an order has been shipped, we'll grab the tracking reference number and automatically pass that back up to the connected channel that Brightpearl's been hooked up to. Great, and then so looking at how that feeds or affects inventory in Brightpearl. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull up a product list with relevant inventory numbers. So I've got my products that I've set up here, and I'm able to see a few different inventory buckets that I've configured or that are managed in Brightpearl. So in stock is everything that I physically have. That's made up of allocated and on hand. Allocated is basically what's been reserved for a sale. On hand is what's available to sell. This helps cut down on double selling. We're able to allocate inventory to items immediately on orders or when you would like them to be allocated, so that you're then pushing the accurate number of what's available to sell up to your different channels. And then finally, on order is what's on open purchase order. And I can drill into these values and see their values across my different warehouses, as well as for the on order piece, I can cut down the number of emails and phone calls back and forth across my team, trying to figure out when items are due in. I can quickly see when a purchase order is due in and when it's due in and how many items are being received on that PO. And then this PO is hyperlinked. I can actually pull this purchase order up immediately, see who created it, when it was sent to the vendor, when it's due to be received. So that brings us over to the purchase order module. So this is where I'm able to fully manage my purchase order process. I'm able to see both my dropship purchase orders as well as my regular purchase orders. Let's go ahead and grab a purchase order that hasn't been received. Drilling into this purchase order then, I'm able to track the different steps in workflow, so I can put together and create a custom purchase order document that I want to go ahead and then send to my vendor. These are customizable HTML, CSS templates. Basically, all of the paperwork out of Brightpearl can be customized to specifically what you want it to look like. I'll go ahead and place that with the vendor. This will update my PO as placed with supplier. I can then manage and track the receiving of inventory, and then this will push updated values to my connected channels. So once I receive this inventory against my PO, it's automatically pushing an update out to my different connected channels. You probably noticed also the invoice button here. Brightpearl, since it has accounting built in as well, has full accounts receivable and accounts payable management. So I can quickly see a debt aging report for my different customers and vendors, and then drilling in, I can see the individual invoices and orders that are creating and driving that specific debt between either me and my customer or me and my vendor. And all of the different actions in Brightpearl are underpinned by its accounting module. So as I ship orders, as I invoice orders, as I receive payment, all of those are automatically being posted into Brightpearl's general ledger, nicely tied back to a specific journal type. All of this information is underpinned by Brightpearl's accounting module. So as I ship orders, as I take payment, as I receive invoices, all of this is automatically being entered into Brightpearl's general ledger, tied back to the specific order ID and with a specific journal type. So I can quickly come in and filter and say, I just want to see my specific inventory adjustments. I just want to see my shipments. I have a lot of flexibility in how I see that information, and I'm not having to rely on a flaky integration or a staff member to take information and then enter it as a summary journal into something like a QuickBooks or a Xero. It's all contained within Brightpearl. And then this gives me a real-time income statement and balance sheet. So I can see my true P&L across the business. As well as my P&L for specific channels. So I can see how I'm specifically doing on Amazon versus specifically on Shopify or a grouping of channels. And then these can be broken out further into our sales by series of reports. So I can also I can answer questions like, who's my most profitable customer? Or what's my most profitable product? So I can see a breakdown by customer, my overall profit, not only revenue, but my overall profitability for that particular account or for that particular product, because we have both your purchasing data and your sales data married in the same system. So that's a very, very quick overview of Brightpearl. The main gist there is really we're going to help you manage the inventory management process from cash to cash. So managing from purchase order all the way through to selling and shipping that out to a customer, accounting for all the correct accounting entries along the way. That being said, Brightpearl is a very extendable, customizable system in terms of what we can do for specific retail and wholesale use cases. So if there was something that you're looking for that I didn't touch on the video, don't hesitate to go ahead and reach out. We're always happy to jump on a call and discuss your specific needs and workflows, because that's what we're all about, helping specifically retailers and wholesalers innovate and really nail and automate their back office processes. Again, my name's Kenny Johnson. I'm a product manager at Brightpearl. My email is kenny.johnson@brightpearl.com. I believe that we're also going to have a link on this video for how best to get in touch with us. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.